Let's dive into using the catalog. So the Contra Costa College catalog is issued every year by the college and is published on our website. And it really contains a lot of very helpful information for students, but you don't have to actually go to the bookstore and purchase the book. You can access it right here on the CCC website by selecting Class Schedule and Catalog. I prefer to use the PDF version, but there is also a flipbook version as well. One thing I do want to point out is you notice that there is also a class schedule here. That's a really important thing to recognize the difference between the schedule and the catalog. The schedule lists the days and times and how a class will be offered in a given semester. It usually comes out every semester in November. It comes out for spring, and sometime around April it comes out for fall. But the class schedule does not have campus policies or the course descriptions or anything about the degrees or programs. That's what you will find in the catalog. So I'm going to pop into the PDF here because that's the version I prefer. And let's just kind of scroll here to the table of contents just to give you a brief overview. The first part of the catalog really gives you just some general information about who we are in the comic community, our values, our beliefs, our missions, and just who we are and who we're excited to be with you. Chapter 2, the admissions, college policies and services, this really focuses on exactly what it says, all of the policies and services. You don't necessarily have to read through this, but I just want you to know that it's here, and we also can help you with this as well in counseling, navigate some of these policies if you have questions. Things like prerequisites, course repetition, financial aid, tuition, other things as well. Chapter 3 is really where, chapter 3 and 4 actually is where we're going to spend some time looking at the catalog in this class. And we are actually going to jump down for your tour of the catalog first to page, let's go to page 66 or 67 here. So I'm just going to pop up here and put this in. Hopefully it will take us right there. So this I will review for you in more detail in the general education section, but I wanted you to know that the general education patterns for transfer and for the associate degree are also in the catalog. There are links to these as well within the Canvas shell, so I'm going to keep on scrolling through these here, but I just want you to know that they're here for your reference as well. The next piece, though, that I really want to get into that I think is a very helpful piece for students is this chapter 4, the programs and course descriptions. Programs meaning what are our degrees and certificates at Contra Costa College? And what can you do with these particular degrees and programs? So they're listed in alphabetical order. The first one being Administration of Justice. This is a program that's very common for students who are interested in becoming police officers, but not only that, also lawyers, working in social services, people interested in history, philosophy. There's a lot of overlap there. So every major starts with a program description, some possible careers you can enter with that major, and then also the things that you'll learn within that program. So just as an example, looking at this degree, this is an associate in science and transfer degree. And so students who follow this degree pattern and complete the general education along with a minimum of 60 units will earn an associate of science in transfer and also meet all of the general education and major preparation for the CSUs, schools like San Francisco, Cal State East Bay. So for this particular major, first it tells us what the required core courses are. So there are 2. Administration of Justice 120 and 121. Each are 3 units. And then in the next list, it gives us a series of 6 courses from which we only need to choose 6 units or 2 courses. And then from the following list, a minimum of 6 units. So you might be saying, well, how do I know how to choose which of these courses other than the title, which could give you some ideas. But if you scroll down through the catalog into the section of the course descriptions, you can actually see what each of these course descriptions are and what you'll learn throughout that course. So if you were interested in this AHS 122, Criminal Procedures, this gives you a full description of what the course is and what it is you'll learn in that course. A couple other things to note just under the description. You'll see here it says, under the course title, it says the course is 3 units, 54 hours of lecture per term. Another way to think about that is that for every week, there are 16 weeks in our semester, for every week, you will be in the class with the instructor, or potentially even online with the instructor, 3 hours a week. But you should also expect another 3 to 6 hours a week on your own for studying, reading, if it's online, doing discussion boards. So it's not just that 3 hours a week or 54 hours per term. The other notes here, the LR means that this is a course you would get for a letter grade, A, B, C, D, or F. DG means it's degree applicable. And CSU means that it transfers to a CSU. Now, if you're interested in a UC and you're looking for, say, just an elective class, something to just fill your schedule, this might not be the course for you because it doesn't transfer to a UC. But if you scroll down and we come look at this AHS 120 here on the left, you can see this one does transfer to a UC. So those are just some really small fine print notes that you want to take care of, but also you can always check in with a counselor and we can always help you further understand some of those courses that you might be selecting. African American Studies is another important and popular major at Contra Costa College. In this program, students can get an Associate of Arts degree and prepare for perhaps the African American Studies program at San Francisco State University, or even other ethnic studies programs across the state. The other thing I want to point out here, since we're looking at African American Studies, is this AFRAM 113. So when we are preparing for an associate's degree or even for transfer, we take courses for our major, but we also need to take general education. So suppose you're interested in engineering. You don't have to be an African American Studies major to take these courses. In fact, if you said, well, I am an engineering major, but I need to fulfill a general education course in the arts and humanities, this AFRAM 113 actually fulfills that requirement, as does actually this AFRAM 112 just above it. Oh my gosh, and the 120 below it. So you have a lot of options, and I really encourage you to really think broadly about how you can fulfill your general education requirements, either for the local associate's degree or for transfer to a CSU or UC. Spread your wings. Try some classes that maybe you didn't take in high school or at a previous institution. Learn something new. And this is just an example of 3 of our classes that can help you do that outside of a potential major. Okay, I'm going to pause here. I would like you to hop on and maybe take a look at the campus catalog as well, and even bookmark it on a website so that you can reference it throughout the class.